Welcome everyone. We are introducing a course that will be given by Vistar called Transform One Area of Your Life, Change Everything. My name is Ron Friedman and this is Victoria Friedman. We're co-founders of the Vistar Foundation, and a few words about our background. I was actually born in a kibbutz, raised in a kibbutz in Israel for the first 8 years of my life. And as you may know, this is a collective setting. I was raised with a peer group of boys and girls, and I think in some way this influenced my interest later on in collective consciousness. As far back as I can remember, I was always interested in the way people worked together, even in a volleyball game. And you know, in a volleyball game, very often there's very little collective passing of the ball. People usually act in a very self-centered manner and are very difficult for them to pass the ball. And I always felt that there was a beautiful implicit harmony when people worked together as a team. And that implicit harmony actually went beyond the game and seemed to point to something beautiful and harmonious in universal law. My interest in metaphysics persisted throughout high school. I became very interested in the Japanese Zen tea ceremony. I read a great deal about Zen, a lot of the haikus. And then I came in contact with 3 spiritual teachings. The first was in the Gurdjieff group, where I stayed for several years. And we love Gurdjieff, find him tremendously useful on our journey. And then I met my first teacher, who I stayed with for 10 years, Charles Ayard. And he taught us so much about the personality and the ego and how these interfere with actually finding out what we are. Our second teacher, Kenneth George Mills, we stayed with for 4 years. And I cannot tell you my gratitude to this man, because he introduced a course correction for us. He showed us the absolute standpoint, he witnessed the absolute standpoint, and to combine that with what we had learned about the ego and the personality gave us a very solid foundation from which we started the Vistar Foundation in 1994. We took everything that we had learned, and through our experience, we came out with a teaching that is unusual, and we'll talk about that very shortly. But I'd like to introduce Victoria again.
Thank you.
And she can tell you about her background.
Yes, well, while Ron found the path, probably was born into it very early on in life, I can say that was not my experience. Until the age of 35, I really thought life was basically family, career, decorating your home. I kind of, after the change that happened to me, I began to feel that there was a program that I had been on. And I must say I did the program really well. For example, the program included marrying a Jewish doctor, which I did. And the program included having 2 children, a boy and a girl, Dan and a Deborah, match set, 3 years apart. And then a house, and then, you know, the Dodge Aspen station wagon with the wood paneling, and a dog, a nice collie, and a cat, and some artistic work that I was doing, and everything seemed set, except for one thing. The husband did not fit in the program. He was interested in these esoteric things. For example, he was interested in someone named Gurdjieff, and I could barely pronounce that word. And when I read it, actually I went and talked to my mother and complained a lot and worried, and thought that he should seek some therapy. So, also, on the table, he would leave this book on the table, this black and white book that was the Tao Te Ching. And I would open that up and look at it, and it had something about the Tao is 1,000 names. Anyway, it was unbelievably not understandable to me. And I understand anyone who cannot understand this, or cannot even, it's like there was a veil. And of course, the marriage under those circumstances had to crumble. And when it did, it's as if a program ended. I have to say I did not know who I was, or you might say Vicki didn't know who she was. And really did not know what was going on in my life, what the purpose of life was. Everything seemed a great blur. And of course there was a search to try to find another man-type situation to fill the program, but that wasn't happening. At the same time, a really miraculous thing happened, almost overnight. Because of the crash out, because of the burn up of the program, a seeker was born. And I began reading every book I could get my hands on. The Tao made beautiful, beautiful music to me. Ram Dass, a Jewish man turned guru, his books became my staple. I loved every minute of them. And they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, I didn't know there was a teacher, I didn't know there was a student, but that is what happened, exactly like that. It's pretty amazing, having read it after. So then, as Ron's told you, we spent time with 2 teachers, and then Vistra came out of that, Vistra Foundation. And Vistra Foundation also, again, we did not plan it. We started it with a lecture. We sat down, we said we would give a lecture to whoever came, and people started coming to these lectures, and they stayed. And from that, there are groups of people that have gone through it, and there are people with us that have been with us for 10 years, 12, 13, 15 years. And there's a core group, and we've trained teachers of the system, and it all has unfolded. And so we will tell you a little bit more how we work and how all these miracles happen to us. Thank you.